Greetings to all of you from Geneva, Switzerland, where we're lucky enough to be blessed with the beautiful sunshine. My name is Susanna Zamataro. I'm the Director General of the International Road Federation, and it's my great pleasure and honor to welcome you all on behalf of the International Road Federation to this webinar, through which we're marking the launch of the IRF World Road Statistics 60th edition. 6 decades in collecting and managing data for the sector. So it's quite a milestone for all of us here at the Federation. And it comes also at a special moment in the life of our organization, as this year IRF celebrates 75 years of existence since its creation. And we're born in 1948. So a year of celebration, 75 years through which the IRF has been working hard with partners and members to make sure that we connect and innovate to deliver better mobility systems for all. We have quite a dense agenda, so with the help, thank you very much. And I will take already, before even going into the house rules, a moment to acknowledge the hard work of the team, and in particular, Agostina Massarini, head of communications, and Julia Funk, our head of statistics, for preparing this webinar. Some housekeeping rules to get us smoothly to the next 57 minutes of this webinar. We will have at some moment in the program the opportunity, hopefully within, if we manage to stay within schedule, for question and answers. So if you want to pose any question to any of the speakers, make sure that you use the question and answer function, which is embedded in your Zoom. Normally you will find it in the navigation bar. For me, it's at the bottom. If you want to chat, share information, introduce yourself, or send some greetings, please use only the chat. So make sure you post your question in the question and answers, because in the chat, they usually tend to get lost. If you're using social media, on the screen, you see the hashtag IRF World Road Statistics or hashtag WRS data. Agostina will be reminding us throughout the event. Make sure you connect to the right Twitter account of the IRF GTKP, and International Road Federation for the LinkedIn. If we move forward, I will quickly run you through the agenda. After this opening remarks and housekeeping rules, I will pass the floor to Julia Funk to really tell you how our history and how we got to this 60-year celebration today. We'll then pass the floor to Richard Owen to show you a little bit the intricacies and the functionalities, most of it, of the IRF Data Warehouse platform. And we are also very lucky and grateful to some of our partners that have accepted the invitation to speak today at our webinar to show actually how the World Road Statistics contribute to the work of their own organization. As I mentioned, a few moments then for question and answers, and then it will be time for us to say goodbye. Without further ado, let me quickly also introduce to you, give you an overview of our speakers. Well, I will leave the floor very soon to Jacques-Emmanuel Saunier from the Total Energy Foundation. Julia Funk, as I mentioned before, will speak on our history and present overall the statistics. Richard Owen, CEO from Agilicis. Nicolas Bonmont will be delivering us some closing remarks from the Michelin group. And then for our partners who have accepted to kindly share with us their own experience and their work, Carolina Monsalve, she's a program manager of Sum for All. Uta Mesman from the Ezra Vias Institute. Gladys Nyacheo, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, senior lecturer at Multimedia University of Kenya. Naomi Tan, energy transition modeler and data analysis, the climate compatible growth, CCG. And last but not least, Sudhir Gota is the co-team leader of the auto report ADB, and looking forward to hear that too. with that, I will now pass the floor to Jacques-Emmanuel Saulnier, Senior Vice President, Citizen Engagement, and the General Delegate of the Total Energy Foundation. Unfortunately, couldn't be with us today, so he sent us a video recorded message. Thank you, Agustina.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, esteemed speakers and participants, good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. I have the pleasure to welcome you today, remotely, to the launch of the 60th edition of the IRF World Road Statistics, providing you the latest data available for over 200 countries and territories and over 200 indicators. Together with the IRF, I would like to extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you. Before you delve into the rich content of today's event and hear from a distinguished lineup of speakers, allow me to start by thanking the IRF for its continuous commitment to road safety, a subject that is close to our heart at Total Energies. In fact, road safety is a fundamental value that is anchored in our processes because it ensures the sustainability of our company. Trucks transporting for Total Energies cover more than 600 million kilometers each year, and we provide fuel to 4 million road users every day. We cannot but be highly vigilant and strict when it comes to road safety procedures for our employees, drivers, partners, and clients. And since we are convinced that a company must be a proactive player, in addition to making a social, economic, and societal contributions, we have chosen road safety as one of the 4 core pillars of our company's corporate foundations program, while focusing on young people, particularly the most vulnerable ones. We have in fact the future of young people at the heart of our mission. There can be no future if young people continue on dying massively on the roads. Therefore, for road safety, we are committed to supporting the Decade of Action for Road Safety 2021-2030, proclaimed by the UN General Assembly, with the ambitious target of preventing at least 50% of road traffic deaths and injury by 2030. We indeed strive every day to accompany different countries and partners in their effort to making roads safer, and therefore to reduce road crashes and the high number of fatalities and injuries that they generate. To mention but few of our road safety related projects, we have co-developed with Michelin Foundation the program VIA, a road safety educational program for youth that has been deployed in 44 countries, so far reaching 560,000 students to date. A program that is based on an innovative and participatory educational approach aiming at raising young people's awareness on the road risks. We also recently launched an initiative to distribute 100,000 motorcycle helmets of international standards in 40 countries around the world, in addition to providing awareness sessions of all participants. We as well support international associations such as Global Alliance and yours in their programs to develop the skills of local young people in advocacy programs in their respective countries to strengthen road safety standards and promote their enforcement. And no later than this month, we have launched an initiative to raise awareness on drinking and driving, especially addressing young rugby fans in France during the World Rugby Championship 2023. Our partnership with IRF spans from building private sector road safety coalitions around the world to advocacy and capacity building, and last but not least, data, the subject that brings us together today. We are pleased to support the IRF World Road Statistics and the data warehouse, as we believe in the power of data in informing the development and implementation of road safety policies and actions that are evidence-based. This unique compilation of data that hits a key milestone this year with the delivery of its 60th edition has largely proved its value over the decades, and you will hear its first-hand later in the webinar from key organizations. We, at TotalEnergies, felt this valuable resource should be accessible to everyone, hence our support to this work. The overwhelming response we have recorded over the past year, during which we have more than doubled the number of users of the platforms, testify that this was the right decision. To reduce road crashes and provide overall a mobility that is safe, efficient, and sustainable, access to good data is of paramount importance to drive change. Thank you, IRF, for all your work throughout the past 75 years on this ambitious goal. I would like to extend my heartfelt appreciation also to each and every one of you for taking the time on your busy schedules to follow this online event. Your presence signifies your dedication to road safety and to better transportation systems. I wish you a successful event, and I will end my intervention with our internal motto: safety for me, for you, for all.
Thank you very much to Jacques-Emmanuel Saulnier from the TotalEnergies Foundation, and a big thanks to the TotalEnergies Foundation and Michelin Corporate Foundation for making this work possible and now accessible to all of you. And our next speaker, Julia Funk, who is Senior Program Manager and Head of Statistics for the International Road Federation, will tell all about not only where we are coming from, but where we are today and where we are going. Without further ado, Julia, the floor is all yours. Thank you. And for those who have joined us with a little bit of delay, make sure that you use the question answer function if you want to address any questions to our speakers. Julia, back to you.
Thank you, Susanna, and good afternoon or good evening, good morning, depending on wherever you are. Pleasure to speak to you today. So very briefly, some of you might already be familiar with the IRF, others may not. So let me just say a brief few words. We are a global independent not-for-profit organization that was established in 1948. We are based in Geneva, Switzerland, as Susanna mentioned, and we are proud to have UN ECOSOC status since 1951. And as was also mentioned, this year is actually the 75th anniversary of our organization, and it's been 75 years that we've been assisting public and private stakeholders in the roads and mobility sector. And we do so through three key pillars of activity. Firstly, through knowledge sharing and dissemination. Secondly, through connecting businesses, people, and organizations, thus enabling networking. And last but not least, through a lot of policy and advocacy work at the national and international level. So let me dive right into the statistics that we are here to discuss today. So we first started compiling some data in 1953, but the first proper compilation that was published was actually in 1964. It's what you can see on the right hand here, slightly different cover to what we have now, but so it's been around for a long time. This year is the 60th edition, and over time our coverage has really grown. So we did not start off with the number of countries and territories that we have today. This has expanded over time. We also started off with a lot less indicators, and by now we're very happy that we are covering over 200 countries and territories, more than 200 indicators, and we sort these into 11 different themes. I'll say a bit more about the methodology in a bit, but the main idea behind the data is that we source this directly from primary statistical authorities for example, ministries, road authorities, and national statistical offices, and we're extremely grateful for these collaborations with the countries. In 1994, the Glossary of Transport Statistics was released, and since the following year, we've been applying these transport definitions to ensure that we really have a standard and that we're precise with the definitions that we're using. And we're very happy to see that the data is being used by a wide variety of actors. So it could be governments, it could be investment and development banks, public and private companies, academia, NGOs, international organizations, and many more. And of course, in 60 years, we've had to move with time. In the past, it was really an offline compilation that was printed and distributed. And then eventually it became a PDF, it became an Excel file. And you will also be hearing about the digital transformation to the data warehouse that we've been making to adapt. On this slide, you see the 11 themes that we currently cover. So it could be anything ranging from road network length to road crashes, vehicles in use, multimodal traffic comparisons, and many more. And we, of course, invite you to explore the data warehouse to find out a lot more. All this work wouldn't be possible without our kind patrons. You already heard from Total Energies Foundation, and you will also be hearing from Michelin. And we're extremely grateful to them for making it possible for us to open up the data globally to anyone to access this whenever they would like through the platform. In terms of the methodology, we have an annual survey that we send out to all our contacts in the countries. So within the data warehouse, we have a data input portal where countries can see the input that they put there for the past 5 years, so they can validate and correct and make any changes that are necessary. And we always add 1 extra year. So, for example, the 2023 edition that we've just released is spanning 2016 to 2021. So the data input portal is the main form that we're using for collecting data. There is also still an offline questionnaire available in 3 languages in case a country has a preference for still working offline, in case there are connectivity issues or it needs to be sent to a lot of different offices. We then go through a process of complementing all this data that we receive with further national statistics, for example, through official yearbooks. And we, of course, have a thorough verification process to ensure that the data is correct, that we reconcile any definitions, units of measurements, etc. And we're also very happy to have some partners with us here today who have been supporting this work as well. On this slide, you see a few example indicators. So while, of course, we have the absolute values for most of the themes, we also like to work with percentages or rates, as we think quite often this paints a better picture. So, for example, persons killed in road crashes per 100,000 people might be more telling than the absolute number if you are not aware of the population in that country. And the same applies for various of the themes. The IRF data warehouse that you'll be hearing more about in a moment is something that we were very happy to launch in 2020. This is an interactive online platform which hosts our data sets and also some dashboards where you can select by country or region what data to view. And it's really kind of revolutionized the way that we use our data, or that users can interact with our data as well, because it really enables quick and effective data visualization. And it's also extremely useful for us that we can easily integrate additional data into the data warehouse in case of collaborations or receiving additional data points. We also have some tutorials online, but today we have the pleasure of having Richard with us, who will take you through some examples in just a moment. In terms of some of the benefits that we have with the data warehouse, as we've mentioned, we're delighted that since last year, we've been able to open up the data. And this is accessible to anyone at any time. Just create an account and you'll be able to access the data straight away. And as I mentioned, the latest edition is covering the most recent 6 years of data. The data warehouse has also made it a lot easier for us during the collection process to really ensure quality assurance and the validation side of things as we're collecting the data. And we've also found that having this data warehouse has helped in terms of analysis and advocacy, and also for capacity building efforts at all different levels. And of course, we've seen that it really helps us in terms of collaboration and coordination with other organizations. And we're delighted to have this many of our partners here today to say a few words about their work and how it's interacting with the World Road Statistics as well. So that was a very brief overview of where we've come from, where we are now. And I now have the pleasure of passing over to Richard Owen, who's the CEO of Agilicis, and they have helped us create and envision the data warehouse and make all of this come to life. And he will be showing you a short demonstration of the platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Julia. Yes, really happy to be here today. I think our work started just over 5 years ago on this. I remember having some really early conversations with Susanna, who had a passion to unlock the amount of data that was available, stored in all of these and written reports and held in local databases, and made sure that they could be made available to people across the world as freely and as easily as possible. And we really enjoyed the time that we spent together trying to deliver these. So yeah, I'm really excited that it's now made available online for everybody to access. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to do a quick live online demo showing you around the statistics and the kinds of data that you can get out of there. Now, I could spend, the whole hour of this webinar myself just going through all of the different statistics available, but I'm just going to concentrate on a few quick and easy ways that you can get information out. So it does, of course, start with the worldroadstatistics.org website, which, as Julia mentioned, has got lots of information in there. It tells you all about the data definitions, where it comes from. It's got some how-to guides, some great YouTube videos on there as well. And it allows you to, of course, register to access them for free. So when you first go in, you'll be presented with this screen here. So this is what we call the data warehouse. This is your ability to access all of the information using various different charts available. So we've worked together to create the 6 types of analysis that we think people can want to use. And you can use these to pull out data for individual metrics, for individual countries, for individual years, or for multiple metrics, multiple years, multiple countries to do comparisons and things like that. There's also an opportunity for you to export all of that data in Excel, for example, for you to include it in your own research reports. So let's just have a quick look at one here. So what we're going to have a look at here, let's just pick the first one off the list. So this is one about road networks. You then get the option to choose an individual continent, and then so we pick Africa here, and it then guides you through and then filters the countries that you've got available. So let's have a look at Ethiopia, a country that I've recently been doing some research into. And then let's have a look at the data that we have here. So you can see that the chart comes up really quickly, and that's it. This is a really speedy system, and you can see the information there. And then whenever you hover over any of these individual categories, you can start to see the individual statistics there. You can also use the zoom function as well if you want to zoom into an individual area. And there we go. You can see that it changes that scale on the left-hand side. So that's really easy if you want to have a look at some more detail. So if I go back to the data warehouse as well, let me just show you another one here. So if we wanted to do some country comparisons, for example, let's have a look at America this time, and then all countries. And then, yeah, this time let's go and have a look at vehicle use. Let's pull out actually one of those rate-based measures. So if we look at total vehicles in use by population, and then let's have a look at the 2020 data in there. You can see that it's then got this chart, so we can see multiple countries side by side on a rate by rate basis. So unsurprisingly, we see that the United States has got the highest total number of vehicles in use by population. So 0.8 vehicles for every person in the USA. So yeah, you can explore this to your heart's content, have a look around at all of the different metrics, and then try comparing them in as many ways as you like, or just export it into Excel and do the analysis yourself. It does have the link to the data input portal in there, but we're not going to cover that now. But what you can do is have a look at the WRS dashboards. And this is something that I've been particularly passionate about because it's about road safety. principally, and that's the area that we in Agilicis work in the most. So when you go onto that dashboard link, you get to see all of these different options here. So what we've done is to make things really easy for people. We've grouped countries together by their individual regions. So if I have a look at the North Africa region, for example, you can see all the different countries that are available within there, and then you just select the country that you're interested in, and it brings up these key statistics that focus on vehicles, injuries, and road network length. So on the left-hand side here, you can see the total number of road accident injuries within Morocco. So there was that dip in 2020, almost certainly related to the reduction in traffic due to COVID. And then on the right hand side, we've got the vehicles in use. So you can see large increases in the number of passenger cars, but also a big increase in the number of motorcycles. If you want to remove some information from there, you can do. So you can just click on the legend at the bottom here. So now we're just showing the relationship between passenger cars and motorcycles. And again, on this side, if you didn't want to just look at all injuries, you just wanted to look at the people that were killed on the roads, you can see those figures there. So they're the reported figures within the database. We have included the WHO estimated deaths figure in there as well, which is always worth bearing in mind because there is often underreporting within road safety data. I mean, everybody's aware of this around the world. So if you're looking at different countries, you need to understand what that level might be, which is why including that WHO figure in there we find is really useful for people. So talking of comparing countries to each other, one of the other things that you can do within the dashboard, if you click on that country comparison link, you can go through and then you can choose 2 countries to have a look at. So I think if we go to Morocco down here, because that's where we were looking at before. You can see then it zooms into the country, and then let's pick somewhere else. I think I might choose the United Kingdom, as that's where I am at the moment, of course. You can now see side by side what the comparisons are for some of those key metrics. So that you can see in Morocco, the reported fatalities per 100,000 population is 9.9. In the UK, it's 2.3. And of course, the UK has pretty high reporting rates as well. You can then look at the vehicles per population. So, 5 times as high in the UK. Road network density, much, much higher road network density in the UK. And then the percentage of paved roads within the database as well. So I'm sure there are 1 or 2 unpaved roads in the UK, but there aren't too many, and certainly not on our national network. So that's why it's showing around that 100%. The other thing that we've done as well to try and help put these statistics into context is to compare people against regions. So you can see that the UK compares against the European region average, and for Morocco, it compares against the North Africa region average. But then beyond that, because in regional comparisons are very helpful, we also think it's a good idea to compare across income groups as well. So you can see that Morocco compares against the lower middle income group average, and the United Kingdom compares against the high income group average. So yeah, you can just quickly scroll through and then change any of the comparators that you want to. It works really, really quickly. So if we want to go and have a look at the United States against the UK, for example, you can click on that one. It shows you the comparisons. All appears on the screen really, really quickly, and allows you to conduct some hopefully really insightful research. So yeah, I said I wanted to make it really quick, simple. That's it. Hopefully you understand the power of the statistics. We've been, as I said, really happy to work with IRF on this project, and I'm really looking forward to hearing your feedback at the end.
Thank you so much, Richard, and spot on. You and Julia right on time. You brought us back on time, and thank you to Agilicis. I mean, it looks easy and nice when it's on the screen, but it's definitely quite a piece of work behind it, and it took us quite some time to get there. It has not been an easy transition to move from Excel files to something completely different and digital, and we feel this is a first major milestone in a journey that hopefully will bring us even further than that. And all this work has been possible through partnerships with Agilicis, partnerships with the foundations who support now our work, and partnership with the data providers and other organizations. And now I'm very pleased to move you to the next part of our webinar today and introduce our speakers. I will start passing the floor to Carolina Monsalve. She's program manager for Some for All, Sustainable Mobility for All initiative, led by the World Bank, rallying 55 or 57 now organizations from the transport sector, and an initiative in which IRF has been very pleased to be part of and contributing since its beginning. Carolina, I think you are with us and you should be able now to share your screen and present.
Thank you, and apologies. So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here as part of today's event to celebrate the IRF's 60th edition of the World Road Statistics. In this presentation, I'll just provide a quick overview of how Some for All uses data to monitor global transport system performance. And I'm here with my Some for All hat on, but I'm also from the World Bank. And just to say that in the World Bank, we also use this data a lot. So just a quick recap of what Some for All is. So the Sustainable Mobility for All partnership, as Susanna said, is a collaboration of 57 organizations working collectively to transform the transport sector. As you see on the slide, our focus revolves around 4 key goals of universal access, efficiency, safety, and green mobility. And in Some for All's work, a crucial aspect is examining how global transport systems perform by analyzing data. And of course, this focus originates from the recognition that it's essential to measure the outcome of transport performance in order to monitor and track progress over time. So a little bit of history. So back in 2015, when the Sustainable Development Goals were established, the global transport community faced a challenge. There was a lack of consensus on how to measure transport performance, as there was no dedicated SDG for transport. There was ambiguity about the main goals, how to measure performance, clear indicators, and having a consistent global data system. And to address this challenge, the Sustainable Mobility for All partnership developed the Global Tracking Framework for Transport, which I abbreviate here as a GTF, which was created in 2017. It aims to bring clarity, consistency, and precision to the assessment of transport systems globally. The GTF introduced a structured framework aligned with the SDGs for consolidating and analyzing secondary data, allowing the international transport community to better understand and improve global mobility along a common vision for sustainable mobility. The GTF is currently in version 3.0 and freely accessible online, and it's our repository of country-level transport indicators with global data coverage, and it facilitates comparisons across time, as well as benchmarking performance by region and income group. And it consists of 60 transport-related indicators to measure performance in 183 countries. The IRF data warehouse, which we've just heard about, is a critical aspect of the GTF. The GTF uses IRF data statistics for roads, such as total kilometers, used for the universal access objective, fatalities for safety, GHG emissions for green mobility. And so let me just move on. So the GTF is a dynamic tool that undergoes periodic reviews to expand its indicator coverage, and the selection of indicators for inclusion in the GTF is guided by a number of principles, which you see listed here on the left: broad coverage, relevance, conciseness, clarity, and alignment. And to the slide's right, you'll notice several snapshots showcasing a selection from the 183 country dashboards, which can be downloaded by scanning the QR code. And these dashboards organize 60 indicators based on the 4 policy goals that I mentioned earlier, and it incorporates user-friendly benchmarking and ranking features to allow seamless comparisons. We've streamlined these comparisons with the introduction of an index, which we've called the Global Sustainable Mobility Index, or GSMI. In calculating this index, we assign equal importance to each of the 4 goals, and the index itself has a range from 0 to 100. Consequently, we can use the Sustainable Mobility Index to rank all 183 countries on a global scale. For instance, in its global ranking, Switzerland holds the 4th position on sustainable mobility. I would like to briefly draw your attention to the recent global mobility report produced by the Sun for All Partnership in 2022. This report assesses global transport systems performance, and it's basically it's an update from the original report that was launched in 2017. And the GMR employs the metrics within the GTF to evaluate the quality and sustainability of the transport systems. Through data analysis, the report assesses transport system performance on a global scale. It also incorporates insights from various organizations to provide an overview for recent developments and trends in the transport sector. And for those interested, the complete report is available for download on the Sun for All website, and you can access as well by scanning the QR codes that you see on the screen. Let me conclude here with this quote and just saying that the IRF World Road Statistics are an indispensable constituent of Sun for All's overall effort to monitor transport systems. Let me apologize because I look very shady on the top and bright. It's 8 o'clock in Washington, D.C. It was supposed to be a cloudy day, but the sun has come out. So I apologize for that, because when we tested an hour ago, it was dark here. So my sincere apologies. And let me hand it back to the moderator, Susanna.
Thank you so much, Carolina. No apologies. We fully understand, and I'm grateful for you, to you actually, for being up on the screen and presenting such an important piece of work, of which we are particularly honored to have contributed as well. So thanks to you, Caroline. It's very early in Washington. Thank you for being with us. And I really invite everyone to go on the Sun for All website and access these tools. It has been a tremendous effort for the entire collaboration and really an incredible piece of work that is freely available to you. Without further ado, let me do my job as moderator and try to move forward within schedule. I would like now to call to the stage Uta Messmann. She's a project manager at ESRA, the e-survey of road users' attitudes, and she is from the VIAS Institute. Uta, I kindly invite you to put on your camera and present.
So, can you see my screen?
We can see your screen. You should put it on slide mode show, full screen. Yes.
Okay, now you can see it.
Thank
Hello. Okay, thank you, Susanne. Yeah, welcome everyone, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to present to you our ESRA initiative and the way how we are using IRF data in our project. So I will directly jump into it. What is ESRA? What does ESRA stand for? Also, ESRA stands for E-Survey on Road User Attitudes, and it's a joint initiative of research centers and road safety institutes across the world. And our aim is to collect and analyze comparable data on road safety performance, and through that provide scientific support for road safety policy making at national and international level. At the heart of ESRA is our so-called our ESRA survey, which is an online panel survey, which we conducted already in total in 68 countries across the world. And ESRA has been initiated and is coordinated by VIAS Institute from Belgium, together with 10 steering group members. These are organizations from different continents. And last but not least, the ESRA is funded by partners' own resources and sponsors. And the basic principle which we are following is that each country pays its own national survey cost. but that we agree that we do it in a common way so that we can compare the data across the countries. We started in 2015 in 17 European countries and very rapidly grew to a global project. And on the right-hand side, you can see in blue the 39 countries of our last edition, ESRA 3, and we just finalized the fieldwork this summer, and we will publish our new results next month. So as I said already, ESRA is an online panel survey. This actually means that it's one survey to which we add different national language versions. We have in each country a representative sample of the national adult population, and in ESRA 3 we have a total of 42,000 road users who answered our questionnaire. And on this slide, this slide gives you an overview of the main content of our questionnaire. We address different target groups, so car drivers, moped riders, motorcyclists, cyclists, pedestrians, and e-scooters. And we cover four main road safety topics: driving under influence, speeding, the use of protective systems, distraction, and fatigue. And these tiles show you the different themes which we are covering, and that ranges from self-declared behavior to the acceptability of this behavior, to related enforcement experience or perceptions of enforcement, or the support for policy measures. Besides our own data collection, we also collect contextual data on the countries which are participating in ESRA, and that's where IRF comes into play. From IRF, we specifically use information what we call on exposure. So this is the length of the roads, the motorways, and the estimated vehicle kilometers. And we use that for further analysis in our studies and also in our country fact sheets. And in these country fact sheets where we compare the national results with the according regional means. And as I've said already, next month, actually in 3 weeks, we will publish our new country fact sheets from our data collection of this year. Later this year, we will update our ESRA dashboard, which you can also find on our website. And you see it here in the middle of our screen, where you can interactively choose a comparison of countries or certain regions from some key variables. And then later into next year, there will be a whole series of reports, conference presentation, and journal articles. So the best way to stay tuned on ESRA is to keep an eye on our ESRA website. And even better is to sign up for our newsletter via our contact form. And thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any questions, put them in the questions and answers, or contact me after the webinar. And especially if you're interested in ESRA and if you have not seen your country highlighted, or you're not sure if your country is participating in this initiative, you can contact me and I can provide you with further information. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Uta, for sticking within time.
Yeah.
And again, ESRA, it's another incredible piece of work, and you see how much we can get when we stick all our strength and energies together in partnership. Thank you, Uta, for reminding to everyone to put questions in the question and answers function. And while you do that, I will now move to the next speaker. We are moving to Africa now. And I'd like to call to the stage Gladys Nyacheo. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Gladys. She's a senior lecturer at the Faculty of Social Sciences and Technology, Multimedia, and University of Kenya. Gladys, I kindly invite you to switch on your camera. Come to the stage with your presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Susanna. I'm very excited to be involved in this big launch. I'm Gladys Nyacheo from Multimedia University, and I'll be talking about how we are using data to enhance collaborations in LEARN. And what is LEARN? LEARN is a hands-on capacity building initiative that improves knowledge, skills, and collaborative actions on road safety through a multi-stakeholder approach. LEARN is an acronym, and it means learn, examine, act, replicate, and network. I'm actually a beneficiary of the LAN initiative, and I'm a co-member of the LAN Coalition in Kenya, which was founded in 2019. I represent the academia as a faculty member at the Multimedia University of Kenya. And there's a photo over there. I am seated at the extreme left, if you can see me there. So the Kenyan Coalition comprises of researchers, NGOs, other government agencies like the National Transport Safety Authority, traffic police, we have road engineers, planners, health officers, and representative of private sector in all that we are doing. And then, sorry, let me just push this a bit. Kenya is among the 6 countries that are implementing LAN, and they include Senegal, Tanzania, Uganda, Zambia, and they are benefiting from the IRF data warehouse through the LAN program, and would highly recommend that they use this data source for their work. Actually, at a personal level, as a researcher, I know that getting quality data that is verified, that is validated, and that is accessible and is for free is actually a big thing. And while that is said, we need accurate and reliable data to inform policy decisions and planning for transport and development, just like Richard said in the previous presentation. And we appreciate the technical support offered by IRF and the Global Alliance of NGOs for Road Safety in implementing LAN in Kenya and elsewhere, the few countries that I've just mentioned. And most importantly, for availing resources to ensure sustainable and replicability of and scaling up of LAN. And LAN is capitalizing in IRF's data experience and World Road Statistics to demonstrate the value of understanding data. We all know that it's not easy to work with something we do not understand. So we cannot work with the data that we do not understand. And how are we using this data now that we have understood how this data is used?
Gladys, you're muted. Would you like
Okay, now you can hear me.
Okay.
Sorry
yes.
about technology has a way of just putting you off sometimes. So leveraging on the WRS for LAN collaboration. So how is LAN using this data? As we have said, this is very important, and with the support of the government, we can do a lot. So currently, the LAN Coalition is organizing a roundtable with the minister to present the coalition and, more importantly, present this World Road Statistics as a free prime resource of data that is available to the government and the public. And this has been made possible because the current Minister of Transport and Infrastructure has actually shown and indicated the willingness to work with multi-stakeholders with the support of data. And this can be evidenced in his press statement on 19th of April in 2023. And further, the coalition is also planning to engage the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics to discuss closer collaborations with IRF and LAN stakeholders to assist on improving Kenya's road transport statistics database, as well as enable international comparability to measure the country's development progress against other world-leading economies. As we were seeing the demonstration, we can see that we can actually compare different countries at whatever levels that they are, different regions. And this gives us a view of what is happening elsewhere, where we can also improve. And in conclusion, I will say that the World Road Statistics offers countries a unique opportunity to use data to improve transport governance in order to accelerate progress towards achievement of SDG targets by 2030, because transport governance is very, very important. Thank you very much. And sorry for that, Michelle.
Thank you very much, Gladys. It gives us another example of how the data can support work also of NGOs. We are running a little bit behind schedule, so without further ado, I'm moving to the next speaker, Naomi Tan from the Climate Compatible Growth Initiative. Naomi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Susanna, for the introduction. And hi, everyone. I'm Naomi Tan from the Climate Compatible Growth Program. And today I'll be talking about the Transport Starter Data Kits, which the IRF World Road Statistics helped make happen. So as a quick overview, with support from SLOCAT, Partnership on Sustainable Low Carbon Transport, IRF, the World Road Statistics, and the International Union of Railways, we've managed to create a data set on transport encompassing historical data from 1990 to 2021 for 60 developing countries. So within this data set, we have population, GDP, passenger activity, freight activity, vehicle fleet number, energy intensity, and load factor data. And this is basically a one-stop shop for data that can be used to project transport energy demand. The 60 developing countries are highlighted here on this map in blue. So we have all of Africa covered, and we have 10 countries in Asia and 2 countries in South America. And we're looking to expand the number of data kits that we have, so increasing the number from 60. And the IRF World Road Statistics will be very useful and very beneficial for this. In terms of outputs from the data kits, so what can one use the data kits for? As I mentioned, you can project passenger activity demand and freight activity demand based on the data. In this example here, I have passenger activity and freight activity. In the first row, we have passenger activity in terms of million passenger kilometer. And we have projected 3 different scenarios for Uganda based on the data available online for Uganda, and also the IRF World Road Statistics data for Uganda. It is important to note that these 3 scenarios, however, are all hypothetical, but it can show a user how we can use the data available to create these demands and projections. So we have 3 scenarios here. The first one is the stated policy scenario based on IEA's World Energy Outlook, and a net zero emissions by 2050 scenario, again, based on IEA's Outlook, and an avoid shift improve scenario, which is based on the SLOCAT Transport and Climate Change Global Status Report. So these are examples of what one can use the data for. In the second row, we have examples for the freight activity in terms of petajoules this time. And again, we have the STEP scenario, the net zero scenario, and the avoid shift improve scenario. And these transport demand projections will be useful when one wants to create a whole energy system plan for their country, or wants to look into the energy sector in more detail and see how we can meet this demand in the future. So in terms of using the data and how IRF has contributed to actions and outputs within CCG, the Climate Compatible Growth Program, we've used the Transport Starter Data Kits in multiple CCG capacity building events. So this year, we have had 3 capacity building events, and they're called the Energy Modeling Platform. We had one earlier this year in Costa Rica to cover the Latin American region. We had another one in Namibia to cover the African region, and we had another one in Italy to cover the European region. Next year, we're trying to increase this to 4 capacity building events a year, so 4 energy modeling platforms a year, by reaching out to the Asian Pacific community. And each year we train around 300 participants. And the participants are from academia, or they could be government analysis or consultants from international organizations. So anyone can join these capacity building events. It's 3 weeks long, and the outputs of these capacity building events are a poster, a PowerPoint presentation, and also a policy brief for their chosen country. So the Transport Starter Data Kits and the IRF World Road Statistics have really helped in this event, because it means that the participants can spend less time on collecting the data and instead spend more time understanding the tool, picking up the necessary skills, and developing the multiple scenarios and sensitivity analysis to do with their country, and to produce these PowerPoint presentations, poster, and policy briefs. So an example of a poster is down here on the second to left, a poster using the transport data for to predict the future energy demand. And a picture on the first left is also a picture from our recent summer school, our recent capacity building event in Italy. We've also used the data for CCG research partnership with the International Energy Agency, the Asian Development Bank, and others. So it helps speed up the whole process of data collection and to also establish a model that is robust and reliable. The Transport Starter Data Kits are also part of the Transport Data Commons, and this is a coalition of 30+ organizations in transport working together to create a shared, public, accessible, and updated database for the transportation sector. So I have a screenshot of the website in the lower right corner. If one goes on the website, you can find a list of links that will direct you to different transport data around the world. Alongside that, so CCG is a program full of academic researchers. Our university partners are Imperial College London, University College London, to name a few. And so the students doing their master's thesis have also used the Transport Starter Data Kits and the IRF data for their modeling processes. So it really speeds up the whole process so that the students can focus on analyzing results, creating their scenarios for a better output. Otherwise, we've updated and uploaded all of the data for our data kits online on Zenodo, which is an open access platform, and there's been more than 1,000 downloads for our data kits. So overall, we've achieved quite a lot with IRF's World Road Statistics data, and it has helped us a lot in terms of outputs, research, capacity building, and yeah, we're very much looking forward to continuing this collaboration of open access data for energy modeling needs. And with that, I'll hand the mic back to our moderator, Susanna. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Naomi, and I apologize for rushing you all a little bit. It's quite dense, but I want to say to the audience, rest reassured, the presentations and the recording of this webinar will be shared with all of you and will be made available on our website, irfnet.ch. But please stay with us. There's another very important piece of work being presented by Sudhir Gota. He's co-team leader of the Asian Transport Outlook, what we call in our jargon the ATO report from the Asian Development Bank. Sudhir, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Susanna. Okay, so I'm representing a region which is 50% of the global GDP and 60% of the global population, Asia. So Asia has seen over the last decade highest intensity in transport demand growth, highest intensity of infrastructure growth, and highest intensity of externalities from transport. So 2019, Asian Development Bank wanted to create a knowledge base and create a very good knowledge base on transport in Asia. So we started the work in 2019. We spent 1 year thinking about this particular knowledge base of what it should incorporate and how it should be designed. We started the phase 1 in 2020, and now we are in the third phase. So we have 3 years of experience. We have tried, we have made some mistakes. We have learned a lot of lessons in how to build a transport knowledge base on transport in Asia. So when I say Asian Transport Outlook is a knowledge observatory on transport in Asia. What we do is we collect a lot of information, transport data, transport policy information, and we support the implementation of projects of Asian Development Bank and Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank, which has joined this initiative this year. So we support the investments of these two banks by providing the state-of-art knowledge reports on different countries in Asia, what is happening on the transport sector. This initiative, the outputs are equally relevant to the transport stakeholders, the policymakers, and we track transport SDGs, we track the Paris Agreement, and we track some of the regional declarations like the Aichi Declaration by UNCRD. So our job is to observe and collect and report. And we have a website where asiantransportoutlook.com, where you can download all the transport related data from our website. So what separates us the ATO from any other initiative, what you could think of in terms of the data is there are few fundamental differences in how we approach this. First, we collect transport data not only from the primary sources, but also the secondary sources. So for example, the IRF data statistics is of great relevance for us. We started collaborating even before the IRF data was open, because we used to validate some of the data what we have with the IRF data. Now, since the data is open, we share our information, what we have, and we collect what IRF has been done, and we try to collect it. So we collect data from the primary and the secondary sources. Second, we have for a single indicator, we have multiple sources. So we believe that there are multiple versions of the truth out. So it is important to collect and report based on the standardized definitions. What are the different sources? What are they reporting? And sometimes you will find that the statistics could vary significantly among different sources. We don't say which source is right and which source is wrong. Our job is to collect and report. That's it. Third, we consider multiple modes, and we are working across multiple dimensions. We collect information on transport infrastructure, activity, services, access and connectivity, road safety, air pollution, climate change, economic dimension, and we collect this at the country level, at the city level, and we have some data at the project level. But the crown jewel of the ATO is not the data. It is the policy information what we have. We have the largest collection of policy documents on transport in Asia, with more than 1,100 policy documents from 51 economies. So across different dimensions, we try to work at the national level, at the urban level, rural level. We have information transport data, we have policies, we have insights on the institutional framework, we have little bit of insights on the financing, we have projections till 2030, and we have multiple outputs which you can download from the website. Currently, the policy database is not yet online, but it will come in the due course of time. Currently, what you can find is the number of indicators. One of the beauty of ATO is we also have the cost database. So any cost of infrastructure, railway construction, road asset maintenance projects, we have largest collection of projects in Asia with more than 1,000 projects. And this information comes from multiple MDBs, World Bank, ADB, AIIB, and some of the other projects. And we have a lot of knowledge products, state of play reports, what we develop for different countries, and you can find it in our website. So we have 51 economies, 460 cities. We have a lot of urban data. We have detailed information for 46 cities currently. We have, as I said, different dimensions. You will have a lot of indicators. We have nearly 650 indicators either at the national level or at the urban level, which you can download. You have the time series from 2000 to 2020, 2022. You have for 70%, for example, in the urban level, we have multiple sources. At the national level, we have about for 10% of the indicators, multiple sources. So the ATO was developed to improve the transport knowledge base. The transport knowledge base can only be improved if stakeholders use it. And this is where our relationship with the IRF, with the other stakeholders, for example, the climate compatible growth, comes in, where we actively exchange the data. We try to understand what the validation, what kind of information is available. And if you have any questions with us, please let us know, and we will be very happy to answer any questions you have on transport in Asia. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sudhir. That was a fast but comprehensive presentation of what is definitely an incredible piece of work. So to the audience, you've seen how much is out there and how willing we all are to open up our data and collaborate to deliver to the sector the kind of data collection that is needed to inform decision-making and policy. We are already beyond schedule. I just want to take a few seconds to respond to one of the recurring questions that I saw. Yes, the Excel file, the raw data is available in the Excel file format as well through the data warehouse and also offline. The members of IRF actually get the full Excel file, because it's one of their privileges of being members. The second question was about whether our data are georeferenced or not. The answer is not yet. It's an aspiration for the next stages of development of our data platform. With that, I would like now to pass the floor quickly for 3 more minutes to Nicolas Beaumont. He's Senior Vice President, Sustainable Development and Impact from the Michelin Group. And I'd like to pass him the floor for some closing remark. He has video recorded a message for us, and we thank very much Michelin Foundation for their support in making this work possible.
Hello, everyone. First, I would like to congratulate the International Road Federation for this important milestone, 60 years of data collection. At Michelin, we are delighted to have supported this initiative together with TotalEnergies to make this invaluable reference tool of global road statistics available to the transport community and beyond. We are convinced that companies must play a role in society to provide collective responses to today's challenges. Because companies are an integral part of the solution to today's problems, and Michelin wants to help shape the world's future. As you know, mobility is a universal right at the heart of human development that everyone should be able to enjoy, such as access to education, work, health, and much more. That's why Michelin leverages its numerous partnerships, its capacity for innovation, and its areas of expertise to help make mobility safer, more physically and economically accessible, more efficient with utmost performance and minimum resources, and with less impact on the environment. Mobility can only be truly sustainable if it is fair and able to respond to everyone's needs. Transport is the backbone of actions aimed at achieving the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations Agenda for 2030. With a world's population expected to grow to about 9.7 inhabitants in 2050, with very sustained population growth, particularly on the Asian and African continents, the challenge and the opportunity is to reconcile the growing mobility needs with the imperative for climate action and improve resilience. Michelin's partnership with IRF is a true example of how much we can achieve through joint work and close cooperation. And as you know, partnerships are needed to succeed the transformation of the mobility sector. I am sure you will agree that data is critical as they help us unleash the power of this transformation for the benefit of society. Data not only helps us better understand the needs and address those needs by making efficient use of the limited resources we have available, but also helps make informed decisions, informed policies based on evidence. Data has the power to transform ideas into impactful action. Finally, I have a deep and abiding faith in people and in their ability to build a positive future for themselves and the world around them. I feel certain that the data collected in over 200 countries or territories will help upholding freedom of movement as a source of human progress through a more sustainable mobility for all. Thank you all for your attention.
Thank you so much, Nicolas. And it's my turn now. We are beyond time to thank all the speakers for their time and for their contribution to this webinar. I hope it has been useful to all of you. I'm seeing the comments, so we're grateful to see that you have appreciated. Thanks to our patron again, TotalEnergies Foundation, Michelin Corporate Foundation, for making this work possible. A word also of thanks for my team at the IRF, Agostina Massarini and Giulia Frank in particular. I had the great pleasure of working with passionate people. You have heard Nicolas Beaumont and all of you, and so my personal thanks as well on behalf of the International Road Federation to all of you for your time and your attention today. We look forward to working with many other partners out there. So feel free to reach out to us. You have all our details on the screen, and we'll be sure we'll pass on to you the recordings of this webinar, so you can come back and watch it at a slower speed, and as well the presentations. With that, I wish you all good continuation of your day or evening, and thank you very much. Goodbye. Thank you.